Hello and welcome to a Nihongo Gamer drawing vlog. It is July 21st, 2016, and I'm quite excited about doing this because I was just, sitting there looking kind of weird with my hand on my chin, thinking to myself, what am I going to do for the next 10 minutes? And I thought, okay, I might do some drawing, but I may as well record it while I'm going so that you guys can, follow along and maybe see if you can improve upon my drawings or maybe learn something in the process. And I thought, it might turn into a lesson. It might just turn into just watching me draw for a while. This is the quick way. You'll have seen me do this when I draw quick sketches. I could draw very, very quickly like this. And it's not really very accurate, but I don't know. It's just a quick picture. I just thought 10-minute vlogs of me drawing and talking at the same time. And maybe that might be fun for you guys to watch. Do let me know in the comments after this video is completed whether, you want to see more of this or whether you've got some change to the format that you'd like to suggest. Do let me know. So I'm just going to click done and move out of there. And what I'm going to do is maybe focus on hairstyles. So I'll draw a chin and then have various hairstyles coming out like this. That's just an example. Unfortunately, because this doesn't have proper video of my face, I can't actually point and gesture towards things, so I have to draw pretty much everything I'm saying. But essentially it's going to be like this. I would like to learn some new hairstyles, and there's two ways of doing that. You could actually do a bit of research and actually check out some hairstyles online, or you could just try and invent some. And here's the best way. Don't draw the eyes, because if you draw the eyes and the nose and the mouth, you start to get a little bit too concerned with those things, when really all you need is this chin area. And if you're drawing a character with less hair, you'll have to draw more and more of the actual head shape as well. So if you can get as much of, about this much, this oval shape, and then from there on, you can actually quite rapidly design some hairstyles. So, for example, let's do a quick moe hairstyle. And one of the real most common things I see in moe hairstyles is a tuft of hair coming right in the middle, and then hair that comes round covering the sides of the face. And I'll tell you why I think that is. I think that this bit of hair here on the left side, this is actually supposed to flatter the female form in a way that covers they might have sharp cheekbones here, but they want to cover it by having the hair, and that kind of softens the shape of the face in general. And I think that's kind of an important thing in moe. So let's have the hair coming in a little bit on the sides like this. And you know what? I think for a character like this, maybe you could have the ears a little bit lower, or you could have them, higher. But the higher up they are, the less you're going to see them. And, if you are going to go ahead and draw more hair down here as well, you're probably going to need to draw the neck as well. So I've drawn a little bit of the neck, not a very thick neck this time, a fairly thin neck. And this is where I would start for a moe hairstyle. I'm going to try and draw as many of these as I can in 10 minutes. So I'm not going to put too much detail. Just use the quick eraser. And this is another reason that I love to use the Apple Notes app, is it's so bare bones. If I had any more detail, like if I had a really nice eraser, I would waste too much time trying to perfect this. But at the moment it's quite rough. And I think let's go for, now see, this looks terrible. I don't want to have it like that. Let's say they've got this general bowl shape here at the beginning. How about if we had them come off in little pigtails? So, again, just going along with the whole moe fashion, have these little pigtails here, but instead of having tiny little pigtails coming out of there, let's make them as blobby as possible. So, how about this is the underside and that is the top side. And I think it's fine. You can exaggerate as much as you like. It's difficult to know how crazy you're allowed to go with hair in manga and anime, because you want it to be believable, but then you also want to have imagination. You don't really have to stop yourself from being too florid, because I think in a lot of anime people just go, well, it's just an anime, and it's not it's not real life, and yeah, that hairstyle might not work in real life, but they don't drone on about it for too long. So something I've done, as you can see, is I've probably not balanced it very well, but here's what's going to happen. Whoa, don't do that. I'm going to leave it as it is. I'm going to actually not touch it anymore. I might have a note here like too big. I think maybe they are a little bit too big, but I don't want to waste any more time thinking about it, because the most productive thing that you can do is just to keep drawing and coming up with lots of ideas. And actually, I'm not just saying this to, I don't know, as advice to other people. This is actually kind of just me talking to myself, so that I can actually, learn a little bit from myself as well. This time I'm going to go for a slightly more realistic hairstyle. And here's something I've noticed. The more realistic the hair, the thinner the strands become. Really, really nice thin strands, because that reminds us of the wispy actual detail that you get in real hair. Here's a mistake I've made. I don't want the hair from behind coming in over the line at the front. Fairly wispy. I think fairly wispy is good. And here's something that's a little bit, a kind of nice little touch. If you have a little hair kind of escaping from the top, you don't have to. You don't have to at all. And then I think it would be nice if this, I mean, again, I'm drawing female hairstyles today, but I might do some male hairstyles. I could even do some male hairstyles today, but I think in 10 minutes I don't really have enough time. I would love to see this girl's hair short-ish, but with hair that comes down over the shoulder like this. I think I'm a bit of a fan of hair that does this. I don't know if I would actually like hair that did this in real life. It's really funny, isn't it? I think you can have certain tastes in anime, but have completely different tastes in real life. And again, I've not drawn any of the actual facial features, because it would just be a waste of time, and you end up not getting as much hairstyling done. You want to focus on one thing at a time when you're practicing, so that you really do hone that skill and get it as good as you can. So here we are. I've got as much of the hair. I might have, here's something I've changed my mind. I'm going to have this front part here actually overhanging a bit more, instead of just jumping straight to the side of the head. I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks pretty nice. It's a wispy, fairly trendy look. This is a very, what would you say? Intent? I want to say that this look has intent. Like, she really wanted it to look this way. And you can tell because of the way it's been cut. It's been really trimmed in these areas here. As opposed to maybe if you had a girl character that was maybe, I don't know, still living at home, not too worried about her appearance. Let's have her have a slightly longer, just draw a nice facial shape in here. If you had a girl that was with slightly less intent, less of the trendy look, here's something that's fun, is to give her a fringe. And that's not to say fringes are not fashionable. In Japan there are plenty of very, very famous fashionable people who have a fringe. That's totally fine. But when you're trying to do a bit of character design, it's more often, I think, that you can make a character look like they haven't really left home yet by giving them this fringe, because that's pretty much, I mean, I don't know if I'm just generalizing, but this is how a lot of characters look before they get their first really trendy haircut. This wispy look here, I feel like this is a real indicator of someone who's gone for a very intentful haircut. Again, this is just a vlog, and I don't really know. I might change my mind about lots of these things, but I find that the less of this wispiness, and actually the more you can get of this blocked off hairstyle like this makes it look a little bit more, how do you say, a little younger, or maybe just a little more naive, or just a little more diminutive, less in your face, just in general, a slightly quieter character who's probably outspoken. Is that what I mean? Or they're often outspoken by other louder characters. I may have got the terminology wrong there. But again, nothing too serious. Obviously, what I've drawn here is the general shape. I don't think you actually want to have it that blocky. You could just generally, that first line that I drew was to give you the general shape, whereas, you know, the actual shape will have these cuts like here and here and here, which you can think about in the future. So that's 3 hairstyles I've done so far. I still think I should draw for another couple minutes before I've actually finished my 10 minutes. Let's do something a little bit more. How about a longer hairstyle? I want a slightly longer hairstyle, so I'm going to erase this too big area because it's getting in my way. Let's have a girl's head here, and let's give her a nice chin. Again, nothing special about the shape of the head because that's not what I'm focusing on right now. But, you know, maybe this is useful if you're wondering how to sketch out quick head shapes without wasting too much time. And this time, because I wanted to have a nice long hairstyle, I think this time I will give her less hair at the front. You know? Maybe it comes down from the side, just like before. Comes down from the side, but instantly goes into this... I don't know. Actually, you know what? No, I've changed my mind. I change my mind a lot, don't I? Let's have the hair, you know, similar to before, but with a couple of these long hair things at the front. Now, I've done them a little bit too crudely this time, but maybe it would be more like this, like so. Again, just a nice simple line, just to get the idea across. But that's all she's gonna have for the front hair. And then let's have the neck again. It's not a 3/4 view, but it's more 3/4 than it is straight on. And then the actual hair it's gonna be quite flat at the top because the hair is quite heavy, and then it's gonna come down here. And let's have it, oh, that might be a little bit too long. Let's have it sort of around to the lower upper back. And of course you won't actually see this hair. This is a very simple hairstyle, but her shoulders are going to come out here, and she's going to have, you know, well, probably not as broad shoulders as that, but once the body parts have come in this area here, you probably won't be able to see a lot of the hair behind it. Something that's interesting, sometimes you can add this little line here, and that shows that the hair does separate as it comes from the top. That's something you can add, like a line coming from the top or a line coming from the bottom, just to show that they are actually, you know, in individual strands. Something it gets a little more complicated when you start turning it into manga later. You may find that those lines just completely disappear. It's totally up to you. Some people will color in this whole area black, and then they'll use white to have the lines be defined out here. But that's a little bit difficult to see in here, so I'm just going to erase that. Let's see. I mean, I've pretty much drawn for 10 minutes, but I think it would be unfair to finish now unless I did something completely wacky. Let's do something completely wacky. And you should allow yourself to be as wacky as you want, you know? Don't stop yourself at realistic hairstyles, even though really most of the time the totally whacked out hairstyles, they're reserved for a very special kind of anime. But it's okay. Sometimes doing the whacked out hairstyle, like the star hairstyle, that can give you inspiration for what you may do with the character later on. Like you might think like, okay, they're gonna have really, really short spiky bits here at the bottom, but really the main part is these triangles. And then in the future, you might turn that idea into something else. Whoa, hang on a minute. That feature where you use 2 fingers is a little bit confusing. Let's say that I took that idea from just before, and let's work with it. So she's going to have a fairly prominent part of hair at the front, and I think that will help to balance out the cloud strife type hair. In fact, if you want to go full cloud strife, you can even have one of the strands come down here at the front. And now it's really starting to look, one, like Final Fantasy, but actually like this is a believable hairstyle. So from here, Now let's have some hair coming straight down. That will also help to counterbalance the stars later on. And here, now we're just thinking in terms of realism. How could the hair actually do this? And more likely than not, you're going to end up with, let's see, hair that starts somewhere here and goes downward, which is why I'm doing all the downward spikes first. And then maybe, yeah, you would have, using some gel, you could have hair that does this sort of thing or that sort of thing. And then maybe one really strong one like this. And I wonder if maybe this was how they designed Cloudstrife's hair. I mean, it's looking very Cloudstrife, and really, this is where the idea came from. I started with something totally ridiculous, like how about a circle with a bunch of triangles coming out of it, and then moving on to something which I think could actually be quite usable. Now, I think there's not enough, can you see, it's not very well balanced here. I'd like to have a little bit more volume on these hair parts here. And you know, there's something, it seems like there's something missing here. So even having it just cascade one more time before it gets to the big one. And then here, it's just not coming down quite right. But this is how I would refine new hairstyles. Even here, this comes down a little bit too suddenly, so I might have it just do another spike before it gets to this one. And that's already looking very, very decent. And you know, I think for a fashionable guy or even a girl with a very cool, trendy, short haircut, it helps to have a little bit here just behind the neck. I don't really know why. Maybe it's just a personal taste thing, or maybe it's just because that's what they say to me when I go and get my hair cut at the barbers. They always say like, oh yeah, I'm not going to cut the hair too much there. I want you to have a little bit at the back. I don't know why they tell me that. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. Here, I'll just write it for you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this vlog. I think this is a good way for me to practice. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do this more often, and whenever I do it, I'll probably try to make it roughly 10 minutes in length. And yeah, do comment and subscribe, and you know, let me know what you think of this show, because I'd like to improve it, and I'd love to make sure that I've got all the stuff that you really want. I'm just drawing little lines so that you know I'm here. I want to make sure that this show turns into something that you guys can really get some value out of. So, I will see you later. See you next time.